Hi everyone, my name is Chetna Dua and in our today's video, we'll be learning the usage of count function in Excel. So let's get started. Count function in Excel help us counting the cells that contain numbers, dates as well as the time. So for instance, I have taken here the bunch of cells containing numbers, dates and time values. In order to use my function, I will type in here count function, start my parentheses and select the range of cells as my argument list, close the parentheses and hit enter. Now you can see that the function has returned 5. This is so because there are 5 cells containing the numbers. And if I extend my argument list to these cells containing dates, the function returns 10. This is so because there are 5 cells containing numbers and 5 more cells containing dates have been added to the earlier formula result. And now if I further extend my formula argument list to time, the function returns 15. As you must have understood by now that these numbers are 5, the dates are 5 and the times are 5. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 returns 15. The one more important point about count function is that it will ignore the cells containing blank cells. It will ignore the cells containing errors, cells containing logical values like true, false, or the cells containing text, or we can say strings. So in order to understand this thing, I have taken here 4 columns. These 3 cells are blank. These are the error values, these are the logical values, and the cell containing strings. The first one here is kept as a numerical value in each of the column. And now if I type in my formula here, you can see that the formula has returned 1. And since we had selected these 4 cells, only the first one has been counted by the function. The rest 3 blank cells were not counted. And if I extend my argument range to the errors, you can see that this has returned 2. This is so because there were only these 2 cells that contains these 1 and 2 have been counted by the function and these 3 cells have been ignored. Similarly, if I extend this one to the logical values as well, and now if I hit enter, you can see that the function has returned 3. There were 12 cells here in total and the 3 from them are the numerical values. The rest of 9 values have been ignored. And now if I pass this range to my formula and hit enter, you can see that it still returns 1. This is so because these 3 cells have been ignored by the function since they contain the text values. The next usage of count function is to get the serial number when we don't want it to be in contiguous manner. For instance, you can see here in this list I have my orders that are not contiguous. These rows are blank here, as you can see that these rows are the blanks. And if I want my serial number only for the cells that contain some values, I cannot actually type in my serial number here like this and then copy it down, because then I will get the serial numbers assigned to the blank rows as well. For example, you can see here this row has been assigned the serial number 3 where there is no order placed in here. So what I can alternatively do is use the count function in a nested formula. What you can do is type in here starting with the if function. So as we all know, if function contains 3 arguments. The first one is the condition, which is named here as logical test. So if that condition is true, then it will return the second argument, which is value of true. And if that condition or the logical test returns a false or it becomes wrong, then it will return this third argument, which is value if false. So what I want to check in my condition is basically whether this cell is a blank cell or not. So as we discussed earlier that the count function will ignore the blank cells. So count function will return 1 when we pass this cell to the count function, only when it is not a blank cell. So this is my condition. So if this condition is true, which means that the count function, or we can say that the B2 cell is not blank, then it means that I want to get my serial number. Serial number is basically the count of function, or we can say the sum of the cells that contain our dates from the first value. So I need to use the count function again to get the total of the cells that are not blank, starting from this cell B2 up to the cell B2 again, because this is our first cell. I will lock the first cell because when I want to copy my formula down, I don't want it to get changed, since the first cell will remain same in every count. So if my condition becomes false, which means that if this cell becomes blank cell, then I want to get nothing. I don't want my serial number, so I will simply take a blank string, which is basically nothing in double quotes, then close my parenthesis and hit enter. You can see there that 1 has been returned as serial number, and if I copy my formula down up to the last value, you can see here that this has been successfully done. But there are some error messages here. What can you do to ignore them is basically select the range, go here and click here on ignore error. This will remove those bulky or irritating error messages. How this formula actually worked is basically you will understand from the row other than the first row. You can see here the formula was if count B13, which basically means this one cell. So since all the cells were in relative referencing except this one, so all the cells will go down once we copy the formula. So you can see here it is basically asking, the condition is asking if this cell is a blank cell, then it will return a blank. And if this cell is not a blank cell, which basically means this condition becomes true, the count function will return 1 if this is not blank. So if this returned 1, then count function, then what we want as result is our serial number. Serial number is basically the total number of cells from this first cell that has been locked, B2 cell, up to the cell to which we want to count. So this will be this part of the formula will return the serial number. So if I hit enter, you can see that this function has successfully returned the serial number. So thanks for coming. See you in the next video.